With you 24 hours a day. Chaos spreads over Egypt with violent clashes and more tear gas fired at protesters in Cairo. At least 30 people, including police officers and 2 football players, have reportedly been killed in Egypt's Port Said, where crowds have attempted to storm a prison. That's after 21 people were sentenced to death, accused of stirring up last year's stadium violence in the city, which claimed 74 lives. Well, for an update on the crisis gripping Egypt, I'm now joined live by our correspondent Belle True. She is in Cairo. Now, we've heard of tear gas being used there in the capital tonight. How are things where you are, Belle?
The violence continues here in Cairo between protesters and security forces on the Corniche by the Nile and also on Asraini Street. This happened after protesters decided to move the demonstration from Tahrir Square to the Parliament building. Then the security forces responded with quite a lot of tear gas. The air here in downtown Cairo is really stinging. Even at this height, it's very hard to breathe when you're outside. On the ground, there's big clouds of white toxic gas that are really making it very hard to breathe. You're choking. People are passing out all over the place. Well, so really, yeah, there's quite chaotic scenes here in the capital.
Well, moving away from the capital, what is the situation now in Port Said?
The situation is definitely escalating in Port Said. The violence continues. We've got dozens of deaths. The death toll goes up every hour, and over 300 injured. The army are still on the streets, apparently. They've managed to, according to the last report, secure the area around the prison where the 21 defendants who are possibly facing the death penalty are being housed. But we are getting calls from hospitals for more blood. They need blood for the injured, and also medical supplies as more and more people are being injured and killed.
So how is the government and indeed opposition groups reacting to this crisis?
Well, the president was supposed to be travelling. He cancelled his travel plans as the situation developed in Port Said. He met with his National Defence Council to discuss the growing crisis across the country. What they've said is they may resort to a state of emergency in some of the areas that are the most violent. They've also asked for dialogue with the opposition. For the opposition's part, the National Salvation Front, they've released a statement with 5 demands calling basically for a new national salvation government to take over. They've also said they will consider boycotting the parliamentary elections, which are due in April, and they've also asked for early presidential elections. What they're saying is basically that they don't believe that President Mohamed Morsi is legitimate, and he's not answering any of the demands of the revolution and should therefore step aside. That's definitely being echoed by people here in Tahrir Square who are defiant that they will not leave the square until changes happen.
Belle, thanks very much indeed for that live update. Our correspondent there, Belle True in Cairo. Well,